Hello, my monstrosities. Hello once again. Today I bring to you a bit of due diligence. So, I gotta admit, it felt really cathartic seeing everybody shit on the Harbor rework. Because I was like, when I first saw it, I thought everybody was delusional. This shit is ass. What the fuck are we talking about? So everybody's like, wait, hold on, this might be a nerf. And I'm here to say it is a fairly reasonable side grade to what you want to do. And I hate to admit it, in some points it is an upgrade. I think it is a buff in some parts. And there's some maps that I think I can best illustrate this, like Sunset. At first it was Split, but we're going to go through a couple of them. One of the things that finally made me see it was answering a question I had for myself. Why the fuck is Cove rechargeable? Yes, I can finally place it Omen style, that's great, but when am I going to get more value from it with it being rechargeable? I'm just going to retake, place it on the bomb, try to defuse. Right? Wrong. Well, kind of wrong. That's one of the things that I said in the previous Harbor video, coming back to bite me, where if you place it in a very aggressive position while you're on defense, you take a lot of space up. So as we know, they're trying to get Harbor to be this controller initiator hybrid situation. So that means attack should be fine. You got that. But defense, why am I not just playing Viper? Well, first off, I think people are going to figure out that Viper's nerf is a little bit steeper than whatever. But let's go to attack, right? Looking at it from the attack view, just because. But if we start B, and I place this cove here, right? You can't spam any of the walkout I might have done now. You can't spam it. Off rip, throw that, make it stiff. You can't spam this box. You need to invest utility to now clear this out. And I might not even be there. You throw a dart just to see if I'm there? Congrats, I hope you're ready to wait 60 seconds for it. And I'm going to break it. You have no clue what I'm doing here. You have to worry about if I even pushed up to here. And to which I could pop flash out, throw it right on top of that, whatever the hell it is. Hell, maybe it's Vice doing through the wall on top of there. You have to worry about me aggressing into you further. Same thing when we come over here to A. This popular spot that everybody fights over. Yeah, you can't fight out of it. Yeah, now it's two-way, right? If you give me something real good, you pop flash out of it too. I couldn't spam you into the bubble, but I should be ready. And I have this too. If I place that down, place it deep on top of that to really fight for the spot, and let's say that I'm over here or something to actually throw it, bounce off something, you're nearsighted. Good luck trying to hit me from my distances away. Maybe I do it from here, just off rip. You don't know what the hell is going on. All I gotta do is throw that there. Bounce it off a wall. Cool. So I think it helps take space. Like, pretty decently without you needing to spam. If I smoke bottom of, well, top of mid, bottom of mid, whatever angle you're going for, I smoke mid. All right, good luck. Now, it's not even just to say that if you're on attack and you actually smoke there, make that stiff, good luck. You can't spam through it anymore. You have to invest quite a bit to break this shit. So I think you could get really aggro on something like Sunset for the defense that you are missing from not just having Viper Wall. Viper being a hybrid Sentinel kind of thing at this point, right? And that's to say that if you went this route, you still have the utility to do something like that. Maybe you gave your teammate the cove to walk out. Maybe you gave your teammate. I mean, that's just to make sure that they didn't walk all the way through down through it. But Maybe you're the one playing market. Probably better yet, about here. Oh, sorry. I don't think I said it this recording because this took a couple of takes. I'm using storm metal for a storm surge placeholder. I'm using nightfall for a reckoning placeholder, and whatever wall I think of first for the harbor wall placeholder. Okay. Get out there. What close angles are they going to be holding for this? That's just sunset, right? I make it to here. Good luck. All the way same, right? You're nearsighted. That's not a close angle you got to worry about. Because the thing that I was finding trouble with is being nearsighted. There's shit that like just doesn't matter. For example, going to bind. Now, mind you, I still think that bind is okay, and we're gonna flip it to defense because I just like looking at it that way. Um, if you nearsight this person, who gives a fuck? They're just gonna hold this angle and call it a day. You nearsight this person, now we're talking. Because that's not a close angle that they could just hold and call it a day. And, well, while we're on bind, talking about things, instead of Brimstone Viper, Brimstone Harbor, you draw a funky little wall. Cool. Now, Control Z, what am I doing? Do a funky little wall to get out here. Throw a cove there. Call it good. Can't get spammed through this damn box. Call it good. Meanwhile, you have Brim. Smoke heaven so you don't have to worry about the elevation. And then you just have all util to call it a day. Or something like that. And you could do it kind of the same way on the other side too. Util, you get your harbor, this position. Yeah, they could do the wall the same way the Viper does. Screw it. I'm just gonna do all of that. You could do it that way. You could get safely over to here because now you have this, and just get ready to draw whatever wall you need. If your brim isn't the one just putting smokes down. Same thing over here. Voop. Call it that. Now your brim still has smokes later. And here's the thing with Brim and Harbor. They have the same issue, and I think two wrongs might make a right this time. They have to go to the site that they've smoked. They have to go. It's not coming back. You blow two of your three Brim smokes, they last long, but once they're gone, they're gone. Harbor, you blow your wall, you should probably be at this site. Now, Harbor, secondary controller. Brim, primary. More or less, right? You could get around solving those issues. And here's the other thing that brought me to that, speaking of Brim, something like a fracture. Where if you wanted a controller to have a double controller so you have more smokes, take something like a fracture where there's only so much more dome smokes can do. You need a wall. And Viper's inflexible. But if you take Harbor, which means that you're probably going double controller, which means that you're probably not going double initiator, because you probably have a sentinel, and that probably means that your solo initiator is not breach, right? You still have breach-ish ult. Now, you'd go, but old Reckoning was better, and I'd agree, for the most part. But then you come to something like Ascent. Just to fully illustrate it, soon as something's going down, it's much easier to get value out of the new Reckoning to stop a push than it was the old one. Why is that? Let me explain. Let's go to you got Killjoy, lockdown happens, right? And also, hey, Cove a lockdown in case you really need that to go off and they don't have you know that they have to swing it, right? Um, but a lockdown is about to go off. You just gotta play back here. Soon as lockdown is off, near sight everybody. Near sight, slow everybody. Right when it's about to go off. Alright, they're not coming through that. They're not coming through that. Uh that's just one of those things that alright, cool. And that's assuming, right? Maybe you don't have Fade on this map. Because KO is probably the stronger one, so that means probably not double initiator. most people don't take Fade, they go for the Sova KO. But what if you just go for the Sova or the KO? You now have this on the backup to stop a push like that. Somebody plays anti KO or some or KO gets into the mix, right? Oh, and let me explain why this is better than Old Reckoning. So, Old Reckoning, you send it out, but it doesn't stop them from coming in because they're already moving forward. It doesn't really matter 9 times out of 10. So, while you had some stuns like kind of going off and telling you how many people were coming, more or less, didn't really matter because they were just trying to get out anyway. If they had the tools to set up their execute anyway, they were coming out. It doesn't stop any of that. So that's just on the defensive play of a Killjoy lockdown. If you want to get aggro the same way you would with a Fade, all right, there you go. All right, there you go. And that's just for defense. But coming back to a famously defender sided map, all right, if you want to attack with it, place your cove here. All right, nobody can do any funky business on this angle. Can't take the random shots, can't take the random spam. Meanwhile, I have all the time to work with it, and all I got to do is worry about this corner. Maybe cross. All right, same thing over here. I place that there. It doesn't matter. I know to throw something for wine, and I know to get ready to interact with whatever's going on here. It doesn't matter, and I scale and come through. Maybe I know that door's about to break. Cool, throw that. That's just a smoke. Regular smoke once door is breaking. I have that information after I got out. Because I don't necessarily need Cove to um, plant on Ascent too much, because thankfully Ascent is good like that, right? I'm playing under Hell. They're starting to Odin spam. I Cove it. Stop the spam a little bit. They didn't get the chip damage that they're looking for. Things like that. So I think that Cove being rechargeable makes more sense in my mind now. The way you can take space on certain things. Editor monster here because I forgot one important thing to throw in here for the Ascent part. You could also put the Cove so that you can safely cross. They can't spam while they know that they're about to get locked down or null command. So if you put that here, they can't do the hold the fucking Odin spam right here without you having reasonable time to react and get across it. Right? It'll still take at least a couple of bullets for them to get through Cove. So primary smoker smokes this off, or you hit the fucking wall. Da da da. Sure. Or you do the walling, wall this off, so that they can't necessarily be hiding here if they wanted to tuck or something weird. And a hero play. Okay, it's going off. Lockdown's about to go off. Smoke that off. Cove it. It gets stiff. And now you're good. So, now going back to present me. Well, I guess both of those are past me, but yeah. Let me make sure on this recording. Did I do split on this recording? Took me a couple of tries, but we're going to wrap up again on here. But it's just like, all right, no, I started sunset. But, if I need to cross, bam. Primary smoke or whatever the fuck, maybe. Bam. Yeah, it doesn't really help out there, but it helps out here. And it helps out here. And it helps out here. Kinda helps out here, but more or less, right? Storm Surge, that is, near sight. If I'm attacking, alright. If I want to get into position and slowly scale, I do this. Now you don't know if I'm up close or not. You don't know what's going on. Then I might have the Storm Surge here or here. Maybe I do the Storm Surge here. Maybe I wall. Viper, where you at? Maybe I wall after I got to this corner. And fuck it, we'll just do it like this. I don't care. And that's assuming that you're blowing all of Harbor's utility. Secondary controller. So primary can smoke off this. Probably play something there. That's freedom that you don't necessarily have. You can work things like mid. Get over here. All right, cool. Stop the heaven spam while you're trying to plant. Make sure you can do that safely. And again, stop the counter push. All right, cool. You hear that things are about to go down on B? All right, stop the counter push. Stop the push. Counter the push. There you go. There you go. The same way you would with Breach, and which is one that we've seen in place of Viper on Split. But instead of having to go solo Astra or solo Omen and then going some Initiator, probably Fade, or Sky, actually, probably Sky, and then Breach, who can't work every angle, oddly enough, I think you go Harbor. Then you start doing some weird things both ways. Mid, you get your ult. Raze is your usual duelist of choice on this map. Alright. You tell Harbor to do this one where more people are typically coming from. You double blast pack down. Fire that. They're nearsighted. Alright, go ahead. Throw a nade, start killing the other side. You know how far back you have to be to not get hit by this? Especially if you angle it right. There you go. You get any information, and that's just assuming that, hey, you didn't give yourself some cover to get out there and do it a little bit better. If you give the walk down right here, you place the cove there and get ready to ult. From defense, you walk down, hear a sound. Cool. They have to invest utility to figure out if you are walking down from this. So I think that Harbor is. I hate to admit it. I do think Harbor's better. I do think Harbor's better. Previously, that ult wouldn't do shit for you here. Like, you'd know they're there, but they just back up, right? Uh, Cove being able to be placed like Omen now means that you don't have to expose yourself to place it. That's kind of what I don't think I was driving home too well with all of this. You don't have to expose yourself to place it. And you could be away from it. You know that your team is setting up something, you go for the lurk. Don't go for the lurk. Don't go for the lurk because you have wall. But if it comes down to it and you are needed to lurk, you can be somewhere else. Or you can help your lurker. Maybe you know that Raze is doing a solo play and you just gotta sell it. Go for it. Maybe you know somebody else is doing a solo play. Maybe you have a KO that can pop flash themselves out of walk down. Go for it. But yeah, I think that Harbor on some maps now has relevancy. Do the walk down here. Cover all of that. Near sight them once you hear contact. Can't get spam from window. Throw a wall. Let's do Viper. Throw a wall. Walk down. Hear that they're coming through A some way. Throw it corresponding direction. Make space. Haven is usually attacker sided because there's 3 spots. Don't know where the fuck you're landing. So, on defense, become an attacker with new harbor shit. And I've already talked about this. Place that there. Walk up. Have that. Can't get randomly op shot it down while you're trying to walk up. Yeah. So I think that's where I am. I think Harbor has potential, and there are some instances that you can genuinely make a case for taking Harbor as the 5th spot instead of Viper or Breach, which are 2 agents that can't solo their role. So yeah. If you like the video, like it. Got a comment from me, comment. And until next time, peace out, my monstrosities.